Well, hello, everyone. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Welcome to our Center Court session on the MS in Business Analytics at the Carnegie Mellon Tepper School. We have with us to talk about that program. And I should add that we're going to focus mainly on the full-time residential program in business analytics, although Carnegie Mellon also has an excellent online part-time version. We'll talk a little bit about that so you know there's another option. But our guests today are Kevin Dietrich, who's the director of the Masters of Science in Business Analytics at Carnegie Mellon. And we have a current student who will be graduating in May of this year, Owen Wang, who will also be joining us. Welcome. So Kevin, give us the basic lowdown on the 10-month full-time residential program. Students start in August, and then what happens?
Yeah, so thanks, John, for having us here today. Very excited to talk a little bit about the MSBA program. You've correctly noted that students start in August. We have a 10-month full-time program here at the Tepper School. So what that means is students start in August and finish in May. You alluded to a part-time program as well. That's generally going to be just under a 2-year program. So students will start in August, go to school year-round, and finish essentially in about a year and a half after that. Same curriculum. The program that Owen is just about to complete here, I think does a really nice job of kind of getting at what I think businesses need nowadays, and that's folks who have the technical skills, can bring the data insights, and convey the necessary deliverables with that data to drive business intelligent decisions. Actually just got off a call with a firm and just kind of talking about what is it that you need? What are you looking for? And their comment was like, yes, of course, we're looking for the techie folks, but we're also looking for the people with people skills and leadership skills. So the curriculum is designed such that when you graduate, you'll have the technical and data science, data-centric skills, but you're also going to get the business skills, right? You're gonna have the opportunity for leadership development. You'll take organizational behavior courses. You'll take business communications courses, and really the sequence of coursework throughout the program is such that even if a course is very technical, you're still presenting. You're still going through case studies and sort of articulating your insights based off of your learnings in the class and the project. So my sense is that it's kind of meets right in the middle where it needs to, and where businesses need us to meet and look for the skills that they're looking for.
And what's the size of your annual intake in the full-time program?
Yeah, that's a good question. So full-time program, and to be clear, John, Owen is a member of our first cohort. So we onboarded our first ever class of full-time students in August. And Owen's amongst a group of 51 in our first year. Now we could see that scale slightly or down from year to year, but figure in the 50 to 60 ballpark is what we're pulling in on an annual basis. Right.
How diverse is the student body in the first class?
Well, I'll say and I'm glad you bring this up. One anecdote that I'm really proud of is that in terms of, and I tend to view the tech spaces as generally pretty male dominated, and we're at greater than 50%, 51% to be precise, female in this program. So just in terms of like the different, specifically here in terms of gender diversity, you'll be surrounded by, and we're really pushing for gender diversity, as well as other aspects of diversity in the program.
So who's generally attracted to the program? I know that Masters in Business Analytics, that's a very hot degree. It's in great demand, in part because of the overwhelming amounts of data that companies now have at their fingertips, but their inability to actually convert that data into real decision making. So who comes to the program, and what do they hope to achieve?
Yeah, at the risk of not answering your question, I'd almost say it seems like everyone nowadays is interested in gaining these data science skills. But generally, if I boil your question down, we kind of talk about what our profile looks like. I'll say that the full-time program it's going to be a little bit more early career professionals. So we say folks, generally we see folks come in with 0 to 3 years of experience. Undergraduate degrees are going to be sort of a smattering of business economics in kind of one bucket, computer science, engineering, and then math and physical sciences is sort of our third category, not necessarily in order of the highest number there, but that's generally what we'll see. And again, I think the person that is looking for us and the person that we're looking for is that sort of inquisitive mind, right? They really want to use data to drive insights. They're that person who can think outside of the box about how to solve a problem. In a day and age when, as we all know, like we are living through challenges and problems, at organizations across the world that we don't know the solutions to today. And so using data and past history to drive future insights, that's really the type of mind that we're looking for, and I think the type of mind that we attract as well.
Right. Now, Kevin, generally in a 10-month program, which is pretty intense and accelerated, you don't get a lot of electives. Are there electives in this program for students?
So that's a very good question. So our curriculum's pretty fully baked. But what I will say is that in the second half of the program, the second semester, given a couple of considerations, right? A student's done really well in their full-time recruiting. They've done really well academically. Then they'll have the opportunity to add on a course or two here or there in the second half of the program. And actually, Owen on the call here is a good example of that. Finished his recruiting and he's auditing a couple of courses here on campus at Carnegie Mellon.
That's great. So Owen, tell me, what led you to pursue this degree in the first place? And how did you end up choosing Carnegie Mellon?
Yeah, sure. I actually started as a marketing undergraduate. I studied marketing during my entire bachelor degree, and during my internships and some interactions with the company, I kind of realized I'm more interested in the quantitative side of marketing, which means using data analytics to drive marketing decision making. So after graduation, I actually choose to work in a tech company for roughly a year as a data analyst. And during my work, I realized I come from a business background, and the technical tools I learned is by self-learning on YouTube, and that's not enough. So that's when I decided to pursue a full-time program in business analytics to gain a more comprehensive and systematic training in business and analytics. And I have some factors for considerations for this program. And because I am looking for a program that can not only give me a technical depth in curriculum, but also really focus on business applications and also the soft skills that can help me successful in the analytic career, which means I am not purely coding guy, not building from scratch this kind of coding geek, but also a analytics person that can work cross-functionally, that can drive business decisions through the data insights. And when I browse through the website, Tepper, they have logos like in our background here, the intelligent future, and I learned the missions of like blending technology into business decision making, and I think, well, that's the school and that's the program that I want, and yeah, and that's how I decided.
I mean, the other thing is Carnegie Mellon has a world-renowned reputation in this in the field of analytics, and long before it even had this particular degree, as well as technology. So sure. It's a great place to get a master's in business analytics for sure. Tell us a little bit about your learning experience. You're 2 months away from graduating, sure. So you've had a really good, time here to sort of absorb the learning and the experience and to be able to comment on it.
Yeah, I would start by like what kind of courses I have taken in a very high level. It's like I think our courses can be divided into like 3 pillars. The first pillar is the technical and programming course. Like in the first semester, we have like programming in Python and R is kind of a foundation of the programming, because in the following sessions, a lot of classes will blend into these two programming languages. And also we have data visualization in Tableau, and also statistics, machine learning. Those hardcore technical classes are all what we need to become a data science or become a business analyst. And also the second pillar will be the analytics course, which means they are actually blending those technical tools into business insights or decision making, like the marketing analytics, the course which is my favorite because I come from a marketing background, and I will doing something related to marketing science, and this course really give me a really good foundations. And also, for example, the data analytics and finance we are starting this semester. And the third pillar will be the communication course, which is sort of related to soft skills like business communications, managing teams and organization, those kind of soft skills that can help us like navigate through the career in the future analytic fields. So I think it's pretty comprehensive. It's not singly driven by tech or business, but actually a really good combinations. And the course is kind of they are like collaborating with each other and kind of create a mix or comprehensive set for us students. And yeah, that's my feelings for.
Now, Owen, you earned your undergraduate degree in China, and I wondered what difference is there in the teaching style at Carnegie Mellon versus the university that you attended for your undergraduate degree?
Yeah, that's a good question, because in my undergraduate degree, I'm studying marketing, but the business courses taught in China in my school is mainly theoretical based and like paper based. We need to write a lot of essays, we need to read a lot of papers. But here at Carnegie Mellon MSBA program, we focus on a more practical side of training, because we are using the actual data set provided by actual enterprise startup. And every course we have case studies, as Calvin mentions. We also have a little projects that we not only learn about the series, not only learn about that knowledge, but also can get to apply into the homework, into the team projects. It's like really working with our true clients or working into a real data scenario, because I have 1 year working experience before, so I know the gap between the academic courses here and the actual work is like much smaller than what I gained from my undergraduate. Yeah,
so much more applied. And I would imagine that the professors encourage you to be engaged in having your own opinions and perspectives at Carnegie Mellon versus in China. I would think you're mainly lectured to.
Yeah. And also good thing about is the class size, because in general, not only in China, but also in the States, the undergraduate courses are like pretty huge community, like 200 people or 300 people taking the same big class. But here we are like a really close and cohesive cohort. We have like 50 students studying in the same place. That's where we can like put forward our questions, interact with the professor, and like share our own insights with the other students. And I can say I not only learn a lot from the professor, but also learn a lot from my cohort during the class engagements.
Yes, absolutely. Now, you were a marketing undergrad.
Yeah.
So I wonder how difficult it was in the first semester when you're covering more technical aspects of the program and learning how to code to some degree and learning data visualization and other aspects that were probably very rigorous.
Yes, at first I was kind of intimidated by the coursework, because as I said, I come from a purely business background with no prior like programming experience before. But for example, the programming in R and Python in the first semester is actually teaching you really from scratch. They don't expect you to have any background in tech. They will walk you through any things from basics, like the different kind of loops, different functions, different data type. And Yeah, it is really rigorous, but as long as you follow the instruction of professor and finish the homework, attend each office hour, I think I can like I'm able to navigate through this. And a lot of learning is through teamwork projects and after home assignments. And yeah.
And I think it needs to be said that, Carnegie Mellon is not teaching you to be a coder, but what Carnegie Mellon is doing is teaching you to be familiar enough with programming so that in a subsequent job, you can ask the right questions and understand what the answers are. Am I right?
Yeah, correct.
And Kevin, you would agree with that, right?
Yeah, I would wholeheartedly, John. I think Owen's done a really nice job of articulating his journey, and I would emphasize that his story is a really important one, right? And I talk to candidates a little more often than I'd like that have this story of like, hey, I was thinking about this program, but of course, CMU Tepper has sort of this, there's always this notion attached of like, oh, I can't get in. So I talk to candidates to our program who are thinking about us, and they sort of carry that notion with them, or maybe someone told them like, hey, you probably won't get in. And I think it's important to highlight here that we give you what you need to be successful in this program. If you're a hard worker, you'll get the tools here, the tech tools that you need to be successful. And you're absolutely right. We're not in the classroom here. The sort of output here is not that you're in sort of a back room coding on a daily basis. The goal and the skills that you get here are, I'll really kind of emphasize the business sides, driving business insights at an organization, because of the skills that you pick up here are so critical, and we give you what you need here.
I'm also assuming that Owen was in a team of people with different backgrounds. So perhaps there were students with computer science backgrounds or engineering backgrounds, so that everyone could, basically build on the strengths of the team and minimize the weaknesses. Am I right, Owen?
Yeah. A good example is the recent like capstone projects. We actually met with a company. They open all the data resources to us, and I team up with several students. Some of them are in economics major, and some of them in computer science, and I am in business. So we can actually really learn from each other. I learn from them from a techie side on a more modeling techniques or perspective, and they learn from me from how to interpret data insights from in a business background, how to break down the business problems, something like that. Yeah.
Great. Now, Kevin, this is the first year of the program, so you don't actually have graduates yet. Owen will be in the first graduating class. But what careers are you seeing these students pursue and being interested in, and how does the school help on the career development, professional development side?
Yeah, let me tackle that first part. And you stated it right. We don't have data, ironic here, necessarily to sort of rely on, but we do have our hypotheses and the trends that we're seeing in the marketplace. So sort of across the board, what I'll say is that this program will prepare folks for a variety of roles, from data engineers and data architects all the way up to data scientists. If you're uber proficient, then you can kind of get into the ML AI scientist space as well. There's a set of machine learning courses that students take on campus too. So there's that mix. Plus, I'll kind of throw in the business analyst, business intelligence roles that our students will place into. And I think the neat thing about this program and how we've designed it is that it's made and intentionally designed to help students get into roles across industries. So, looking at healthcare, operations and supply chain is such a hot topic nowadays. Really across the board, you'll have opportunities. And I'll kind of refer to Owen on the call here. He's a really good example of that, where he's landed, in fact, a couple of consulting offers. And so, consulting's in play here as well. And we'll see a good number, I think, of students get into the consulting space as well. Now, in terms of preparation, there's a couple of things. I always think and try to articulate that this whole year, right? If you do it right, and again, Owen's a really good example. this whole year, everything you do should be oriented towards supporting your eventual career outcomes that immediately come after the program. So from the moment you step onto campus, you're in a way, you're practicing your presentation skills, you're presenting your brand to your classmates, to your faculty, to the program and the administration. You'll have the opportunity to engage with, we run a fairly regular weekly seminar series where we bring in folks from different industries to talk about their experience at their work, their journey to get to where they landed, and especially with emphasis on that early part of their journey. So that's another opportunity for you to engage, build your network, connect with those folks, seek insights from them. And so what I'm kind of talking about here is maybe more on the peripheral, right? Every touch point is an opportunity. Above and beyond that, I think primarily what you're asking about is what does our Career Center do? So we have an in-house Master's Career Center here on campus that supports exclusively Tepper business graduate students. Each student is assigned a career coach, so that's someone that you work with one-on-one from the start of the program, with reviewing your resume, going through practice behavioral interview questions, all the way through the end of the program, designing sort of a customized. And I think what's really neat about this program is that we've sensed a need, right, with an early career professional to maybe tailor the career experience to be a little bit more hands-on, higher touch points. So customizing a sort of recruitment plan. What's your short list of companies? Customizing a plan for networking and outreach. So let's bring in a short list of folks that you plan to reach out to, and also bring in a couple of sample messages. Okay, let's rework these and tailor them a little bit better. So working with you on that, and then working with you on those coffee chats, right? How do you plan to introduce yourself? How do you plan to talk about yourself? What questions are you going to ask? The entire experience is I think, if you kind of take that opportunity, it can be very personalized and customized. And so the support from the MCC, I think, is top notch. And then I'll kind of layer on to that, as a CMU student, you have access to central Carnegie Mellon resources as well. So there's been a number of career fairs that we have offered, including several data analytics, data science career fairs. We have one coming up in just a couple of weeks as well. There's one in the fall. So there's really sort of this a la carte menu of different options that you can sort of rely upon, of course, incumbent upon the student to take up those opportunities to communicate and seek them out.
And Kevin, even though you don't have a graduating class, I'm sure there are students already who have job offers in hand. What kind of companies are offering jobs out of the program? Yeah,
so I mean, I think current climate aside, I'll say, right, and it's tumultuous times we're living in. I mentioned sort of the consulting side. I've seen a couple of offers come in on the tech side as well. And I anticipate that we'll continue to see offers in both of those areas, maybe a little bit later on the tech this year. But in addition to those, I'm anticipating, some in the operations supply chain. We'll have a couple of folks get into sort of the financial services sector, healthcare. So I think we'll see a number of different options.
Yeah, I mean, you have a broad range of industries and organizations that are interested here, because business analytics is something that is pervasive. Everyone is overwhelmed with data and needs to make sense of it. And so these are skills that are greatly in need. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the other option you have, your part-time online program. I know that that's been running for a little bit longer, and 84% of your students end up with a new position or promotion out of the program. The average salary increase is 21%. In that program, you have weekly live internet classes and 3 on-campus weekend immersions. Any other detail about the online experience and how it differs from the full-time residential program?
Yeah, I think if there's any folks out there who are considering, maybe that online option, I think it's a great option for someone who's working, maybe doesn't want to take the time to step away from work for a year. And provides, I think, sort of the same desire that a lot of our full-time students seek, and that's to better understand how to utilize data capabilities in their career and in their work. That's very much what I've seen on the part-time side as well. With those students, you know, they've been in industry for a couple of years, and really, as you spoke to earlier, John, you know, with just the amount of data that we have at our fingertips nowadays, they sort of come to that realization of maybe I better get with the times and learn how to leverage and utilize this stuff. And so that's more of the mindset that I see with the part-time program. And I think some of the data that you reference here points out that it sort of meets the need of that group of students. Those students also have access to the capstone experience. They do the exact same capstone that, in fact, they're going through it at the same time as Owen is here. And also some neat opportunities. We actually are running one hybrid capstone team just sort of as a beta test this year to see how it goes. And so it's not like, you know, if you're in a place in your career where you don't want to step away from work, or you can't maybe move to Pittsburgh because of family, if you're thinking about our part-time option, you're still going to get sort of the same opportunities as you would in the full-time program without that on-campus experience.
And I'm imagining that the part-time program has a broader range of students in than your full-time residential, which is pretty much a pre-experienced program, right?
That's correct. I see everything from pre-experience up to, you know, I'd say six years of experience. So every now and then we'll get someone who's a little bit above that as well. But I think for that executive, right, maybe they're at a little bit of a higher level, director level, senior director, you know, they come with the same sort of intentionality. My business needs this. I really need to be able to better understand this and bring these capabilities to my organization. And similarly, we see folks come across from a number of different industries, organizations. I'll even add into the mix. I have someone in the current first year group who's in oil and gas, someone else who's in sort of energy development. So there's you kind of get this neat smorgasbord of people from different industries. I have someone in the military. So it's a pretty neat experience getting to interact with classmates who are, you know, quite literally from very different places in their work life.
And I imagine you're using the same platform, learning platform, that you use in your online MBA program, which is ranked very highly and is really one of the most high-touch online MBAs in the market, right?
That's exactly right. So the experience will be very similar to the online MBA sort of in the classroom experience, right? We use for the online MBA, we have a set of very nice teaching studios where our faculty teach from. It has a nice acoustic setup. The faculty are supported by a technician during each class lesson. They can see the monitors are such that they can see everyone in class on the wall behind them. And our faculty are veterans at teaching in these studios. They do an excellent job at it. The MSBA part-time online program, exactly the same setup.
Yep, great. Now, Owen, you know, one of my favorite questions to ask students is, when you graduate and look back at your experience, what are the three things that you think will most resonate with you? So what are the three highlights so far of the program for you?
Okay, yeah, that's a really good question, because I'm at the ends, near the ends of like this program, and I think I should have like some highlights, feelings about this program. I think the first one, I will mention a little bit about the coursework. I will just re-emphasize like I appreciate the course that emphasize on analytics and the data storytelling skills. So instead of like completely coding, but the programs actually emphasize on how to teach students how to approach and break down the business problems, and so that we can translate or interpret business insights with those technical tools. We're actually using those programming as a tool to drive business insights instead of like doing the tool as our job. So that's the fun part, and that's where can lead us to the more in a leadership or management role in the analytic fields. And the second thing is Kevin mentioned a bit about the career and network resources. And that's the one I am really impressed or surprised, because I am actually surprised by the availability of the master career coach. Because I have spoken to some folks from the other MSBA program, and some of the problem is their career coach is a little bit hard to reach. But we have assigned like MCC career coach on each person, and we can flexibly switch the career coach as needed. For example, I was assigned a coach who's familiar with the tech industry, and she walked me through the resume, walked me through the elevator speech, even before the program started. So I am like 80% prepared for the job search after I started the program. And as soon as I got a consulting interview from a management consulting company, and I can flexibly switch a career coach in who worked for IBM for like 10 years, who's really experienced in the case interview, and she actually helped me a lot. And my offer is actually credited to her a lot. So I am surprised by the availability and exposure to these resources. And also we have a lot of like networking workshop, teach you how to reach out on LinkedIn, how to send cold emails, how to pitch yourself, which is really, really helpful in a way that you can use in the career fair or any job interview. And yeah, and that's the career side. And the third highlight I want to mention is the students' club activities or opportunities, because Tepper is a really close and cohesive community. And I'm surprised by how close the link between the master's student and the MBA students, because as far as I know, some schools, they separate like MBA student out, and their MBA clubs are exclusively for MBA students, but this does not apply in Tepper. I'm actually working as a junior board member for the data analytics club. It's an MBA club, so they are really inclusive. I organize several like live analytics events, sharing my insights and also train my leadership skills. And I just want to say, like, if you're willing to engage, you will find tons of opportunities and space for growth here. And I think that's pretty much my three highlights here. Yeah.
Well, those are good highlights. Kevin, what advice do you have for prospects who might be interested either in the full-time residential master's in business analytics or your online program?
Yeah, that's a good question. And John, very quickly, I'll toot Owen's horn here. He's done an excellent job of engaging the way as a candidate in any business program should engage with a program. He'll walk out the door here. He's got a leadership role, which, oh, by the way, he crafted in less than a year. He worked with other stakeholders to craft in one of our clubs and organizations. And he'll walk out the door, and students, graduates from across our programs, and a good number of graduates from across our programs will know Owen. They'll be a part of his network, and he'll be a part of theirs, which for so many individuals is a big reason to come to business school. And Owen has written the textbook for us here. He's done a great job of it. John, what advice do I have? I think there's a number of different directions that I can go with here, but I think first I'll mention, if you're interested in learning about our programs, I very much try to peel the curtain back. I want this to be sort of a personalized recruiting experience for you, where you have the ability to gather all the information that you need to make as informed a decision as you can. I don't necessarily try to drive in a sales type of direction where I need you to land here. I want you to land wherever you're supposed to be. If that's supposed to be a Tepper, let's have a conversation about what Tepper is and what it looks like. If that's meant to be somewhere else, let me still inform you about Tepper, so you know sort of how we do and what your outcomes will be here versus wherever it is maybe you are thinking about. Have a conversation, because that is my goal. And we have a great team here in the admissions office and really across the board. If you need to connect with someone in the Career Center, if you need to connect with someone in the admissions office, we'll provide you with the ability and opportunity to do that, because I do want you to learn about our programs and learn about what it might look like for you to be here on campus or online as a student. And again, I think the conversation is such an essential part of the experience and journey. And I think, my hope is that candidates like Owen and others walk away saying, whatever the outcome, like I really had a good conversation and a good experience with the folks in the MSBA program at Tepper. And I think you never know what doors and opportunities it will open. I mentioned earlier, right, that candidate who just thinks they're never going to get in. You just never know what will happen when we have a conversation.
Absolutely. And, you have an excellent website. There's a lot of information on the programs, both online and residential on the website. That really should be the first stop. And then talk to admissions, ask to speak to a current student about their experience. And if you can, visit. A visit to Pittsburgh and Carnegie Mellon is a great thing. You'll learn a lot about the school, the university, and you'll be in a more casual place to be able to go and have a drink with a student and talk about the program. And I think that's usually very helpful. So Kevin and Owen, thank you so much. This has been really helpful, I think, to a lot of people who want to explore either your full-time residential program in business analytics or your online option. So thank you.
Thank you, John.
Sure.
And for all of you out there, this is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. Thanks for attending our Center Court session on Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School MS in Business Analytics. See you soon.